Hey, Joe Gilder here. I want to talk to you about the evolution of a song, and we're going to continue that evolution process in this video. So, here's the deal. If you've been watching my Songwriting Corner series, then you may have seen a couple of videos, too, actually, on a song called What I Know Now. It originally was a folky song, and then I completely rewrote it into something more blues rock, and kept the lyrics, rewrote the melody, the music entirely. So I'll switch over to a quick video so you can get just a quick vibe of what the folky versions sound like now.
You said you always do this. You'll never change.
Okay, so very chill, little bit cheesy, and didn't fit for the EP that I want to make. So I rewrote it and then recorded these scratch tracks for us to record drums and bass to them. So here is what I had with the second version, the second evolution of the song.
You said you always do this, and you will never change. And we've been through this, and it always ends the same. Same old song, same old dance, and I don't feel strong enough for another chance. If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still be the same? If you would know what it would cost, would you have changed anything? Or would you still love me? Would you still love me the same?
Okay, so that is obviously very different from the first version. Well, now we're on to version 3. So here's what happened. We got into my studio to track drums and bass, and I had those tracks pulled up. And as soon as we started, we had 5 songs to track. This was the 4th song. So we got into a groove. We had good sounds. We had gone to lunch. We were back from lunch. And I said, okay, I know this almost sounds like an AC/DC song. And I said, I don't want it to be that, but I do like what it's doing vocally. I do like the energy, but I don't want it to be just a riff rock AC/DC song. And I didn't want it to sound like that plus drums and bass. Because I lived with it and I really enjoy it. That's really fun. It was fun to record and it's fun to play, but it didn't feel right. It felt too much of a diversion, and it honestly didn't feel very creative. One thing that when we were working through it, one of the guys said was, how modern is a blues rock song? And kind of the idea. Everything else I'd done up to this point on the EP was very rock, but it all had unique stuff. It didn't sound like it could have been recorded 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it has a little bit of a modern vibe to it. So with that in mind, we set out to come up with something different. Everything else that we recorded that day, we pretty much just listened to the scratch tracks. They felt right for the song, and I just wanted to add drums and bass. This one, I wanted drums and bass, but I wanted a different vibe entirely. So what we ended up doing is we muted all the electric guitars that I recorded, and we just left the lead vocal in. which I need to re-record now that the vibe has changed. But we left the lead vocal in, and we just started playing. And the first thing, Brent came up with this kind of almost like an arpeggiated part on the bass. And then we kind of just played through the song a few times. I plugged in my guitar to my 11 rack and was playing along with them. And we just kind of goofed around for maybe 20 minutes, just kind of looping it over and over until we came up with something that was kind of cool, especially the bass and drums. So eventually Chop, the drummer, kind of came into this thing where he doesn't even touch the snare, where he's just kind of doing this tom doom 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 thing, and then a really cool bass line on top of that. So I'm going to play what we have. I'll leave in. I was playing guitar with a tremolo. It sounds okay. I'll need to retrack it because I was just kind of still feeling it out. They landed on their part sooner than I did, which sounds about right. But here, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. But here is the version that we recorded. Now, remember the first version was folky. The second version was AC/DC. This third version is something different entirely. It's very chill, but I think when you add in some acoustic guitar, which we're going to do in a minute, and keep a fairly high energy vocal, it'll be a cool sounding song. So anyway, let's take a listen.
You said you always do this, and you will never change. And we've been through this, and it always ends the same. Same old song, same old dance, and I don't feel strong enough for another chance. If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still be the same? If you would know what it would cost, would you have changed anything? Or would you still love me? Would you still love me the same? Love me the same. If I'm being honest.
So, I mean, that you obviously can hear it. That could not be more different than the previous two versions, but I really dug it. As soon as Chop started playing that dum da da dum da 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 dum, something just resonated. Like, yes, that's it. So the kind of the almost folky bass line, like chill bass line with those drums, and then that guitar just kind of gives it this cool ambient vibe. It really felt interesting. So we ran with it. We didn't even record an AC/DC version. We just ran with this because we thought it was worth pursuing. And I'm kind of glad we did. I'm still, honestly, just a couple days out, a little on the fence of how this is going to pan out. I spent the day after the session, I'd be in the studio working on other stuff, and I'd stop and pull this up and listen to it and just play acoustic guitar along with it. First, because I realized a big distorted electric guitar doesn't fit with this. Maybe just some palm muted ding, 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 background kind of filling in some spots, but like an actual what we have here. I mean, I can play it for you. You can hear how it does not fit. It's almost funny. So obviously there needs to be something else. So I thought an acoustic guitar playing a similar kind of aggressive, kind of really carrying the rhythm would be good. And it did not come natural. It was hard for me to stay in time playing that kind of strumming pattern. And I tried just doing down strums, just kind of eighth note, dun 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 dun. And that didn't really work. And eventually I came up with a part that I think is going to work. I'm actually going to record it now, and we're going to see how it works. And I'll probably re-record the vocal as well. That vocal was done with a slapback delay. It's printed on the vocal now. And then also, no, it's not printed on the vocal. Yeah, it is printed on there. And it also, I just sang it like a blues rock song. So I'm going to have to sing it a little differently to fit this more chill, bouncy sort of vibe. So I'll probably do both of those now. And so the acoustic part, I think, is going to glue it together. The couple times I've played through with it, it's a little bit strummed, a little bit kind of an off rhythm thing, like boom ticka dum, boom ticka ticka, boom ticka ticka, boom ticka ticka, which kind of fits with everything else that's going on. And if you're an acoustic guitar nerd, this is the song's in B, and it mostly just goes from B to E, and it hits A between sometimes. But what I'm going to be playing is mostly just going B to E. In standard tuning, except the high E string, I'm tuning up to F sharp. So when I just play like a B power chord and leave the B and the top two strings, the highest two strings open, there's a B and an F sharp in the top note, which works. And then if I strum an open E, different types of open E, it has that F sharp in the chord and that high note, which just adds a cool dissonance to it. And then I can play like the F sharp that it goes to occasionally, can leave those strings open, and that F sharp will be there in the chord as well. So it gives it almost an open tuning sound without having to do full open tuning because the song's in B, and there's not a lot of good open B tunings where I'm too lazy to figure one out, and I don't know any. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to go behind me. You can see I've got a couple of Earthworks mics set up running into my PreSonus ADL 600 stereo tube preamp, and I'm going to record a couple acoustic tracks and call this acoustic. Or I'm going to record an acoustic, stereo acoustic track and just kind of see what happens. And rather than having you sit through that entire process, I'm going to fast forward this video, speed it up, and we'll come back and listen to the final what I got and see if it works. I think it's going to work, but it could not. That's what makes this exciting. So I've got level. It's probably a little too hot. Get them balanced. And yeah, I'm going to go do it. So I'll move my chair out of the way so you can see what's going on. But let's make some music. Here's something real quick. I don't normally do this, but I actually rendered out the click so I can hear it. But then I've rendered it to audio so I can come here, and at the end of the song I can have the click stop. So when I play that final chord on the guitar, there's no click coming through, so I don't have to worry about re-recording the final chord and making it work. So little tip there. Okay, so I actually haven't listened. I did one quick edit, but I've recorded. I had to punch in about, kind of going into the first chorus, I missed a chord, so I punched that in. But here is the part that I recorded. So let me just hit play and let you and me both listen and see if we like it. That's not the real part.
Said you always do this, and you will never change. And we've been through this, and it always ends the same. Same old song, same old dance, and I don't feel strong enough for another chance. If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still be the same? If you would know what it would cost, would you have changed anything? Or would you still love me? Would you still love me the same? Love me the same. If I'm being honest, ooh, I don't wanna know that this storm is upon us, and there's trouble down below. Nobody's safe, nobody's warm.
I kind of like it. A couple of timing spots, but everything's a little loose timing-wise anyway. Can tighten those up with editing, but that feels actually really good. It's not as, it doesn't get huge.
Yeah, what I know now, would it have changed anything?
I think I moved a little bit. You hear the stereo image move a little bit. I might narrow it down a little bit, but I like the stereo-ness of it. It kind of fills it out. Because there may be a few other guitars that I add, like a few acoustics just doing something like bling, 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 bling. But as far as the main rhythm acoustic, I think that's the one. I think we got it. And what I'm going to do now is re-record this vocal. It's a completely different song. It needs a new vocal. I doubt this will be the final vocal, but I can't keep working on this song for the next several days with that vocal. So I'm just gonna sit here, grab headphones, and I'm just gonna lay this thing down. Check. Yeah, so I'll fast forward through that, and then I'll come back and we'll be done. Okay, dear friend, I am back. I recorded a main vocal and then a doubled vocal on a couple lines of the chorus, and then an octave down, stereo left and right, and then a falsetto one singing the chorus, which I think works. So the main chorus by itself is pretty high, and with it being such a sparse song, it felt a little weird being by itself.
If I knew then what I know now, would it change anything?
So I turned it into this. So basically we've got this vocal.
If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still be the same?
Then a double.
If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still...
And then these two guys getting all low and sexy.
If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still be the same?
And then a falsetto one back up high again.
If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything?
So all together, the vocals are doing this.
If I knew then what I know now, would it have changed anything? Or would I still be the same? If you had known what it would cost, would you have changed anything? Or would you still love me? Would you still love me the same?
And then the verse, I sang it a little softer in places. I think it works pretty well too.
You said you always do this, and you will never change.
I don't like that first line. Hang on, let me sing that again.
You said you always do this, and you will never change.
Yeah, that's better.
You said you always do this, and you will never change.
Let's try one more time. Sorry.
You said you always do this, and you will never. Ooh, you. You said you always do this, and you will never change. And we've been through this. You said you always do this, and you will never change.
Yeah, that's good.
And we've been through this, and it all said you always do this.
Well, I had my speakers on like a dummy. Let's do one more. Sorry.
You said you always do this, and you will never change. And you said you always do this, and you will never change.
Okay, that feels good.
the same. Same old song, same old dance. I don't feel strong enough for another chance. If I knew then what I know now, wouldn't it change anything? Or would I still be the same? If you had known what it would cost, would you have changed anything? Or would you still love me? Would you still love me the same?
Needs mixing, needs maybe a few spots touched up. But all in all, this has gotten me a step more excited about this song when I wasn't sure before. That acoustic brings some things together. The vocal feels more appropriate. And now I can kind of flesh this out with some more tracks that I'm excited to do. So I hope this was fun for you. It's fun for me. Thanks for hanging out. See you around.